Hi, this is Jayoza, Speech Talk Live, episode number 4, segment number 2. And in this segment, we're going to evaluate a speech that was sent to us by a member. Her name is Penny Liu from China. And I have provided the link so you can view it and provide Penny your feedback. Unfortunately, Penny's based in China and she cannot access Google plus Hangout. So what she has done is she has sent us her questions, and I'm going to read those questions, and then we'll open it up for a discussion. So let me just kind of give you a little brief background of her speech. So Penny is currently taking a course, on-demand platform course by Coursera called Introduction to Public Speaking. And one of the speech that the students are required to do is impromptu. An impromptu is like a 2-point speech where you have a main idea and then you support it with 2 points, and then within each point that there are 2 subpoints. That's the typical structure of an impromptu that the students learn in this Intro to Public Speaking course from Coursera that was created by Dr. McGarity from University of Washington. So the question, typically the way we do it is whoever wants their speech to be evaluated live and get the feedback, what we ask them to do is kind of give a little brief discussion of their speech. Then we ask them to talk about their speech, the process, typically takes between 2 to 3 minutes. Then we ask the speaker to talk about what the speaker thinks that he or she did well in that speech and what he or she feels that she could improve upon. Okay. And then the fourth question we ask them is, what specific questions do you have from us so we can give you the proper feedback that you're looking for, rather than give you feedback that you may not be interested in and it may not help you to improve your public speaking. So let me just go through the first one. So I think what Penny said was, and I'll just read her quote, the first one, this brief description, said, "This is an impromptu speech and the theme is MOOC, peer review system improves the quality of the courses it is used in," unquote. So what she's saying is her speech is about, quote, MOOC peer review system improves the quality of the courses it is used in. And she goes on to say, all right, "I choose this topic because I personally feel personally for it. I think it can also reach the audience who have taken the courses." One thing I should point out is, and Penny says it in her email, that English is not her first language. So I'm going to read directly what she has said, but it's not an indication. Don't interpret because English is her second language. So I'm not going to edit it. I'll read it exactly the way she has written, but I just wanted to let you know that that she has said that in her email. And then I asked her what was the preparation like. And she said, for the preparation process, I didn't prepare much. It is almost my first draft since I want to make it a real impromptu speech. Although I could quickly come up with the 2 main points, I experienced great difficulty thinking about supporting examples. Well, that's why we got to keep doing it. So that's a good point. I think she's talking about that this was something she kind of put together quickly. And in real life, that is exactly how you would do an impromptu. Okay, so we can talk more about that. Then she said, I mixed up question 2 and question 3. That's how I prepared for it. Okay, so that's she's talking about it. I think I did well in the invention process. The 2 main points collaborate with each other and didn't overlap. But I think the first point is a bit broader than the second one. I'll say the 2 points subordinate with the topic and illustrate that sufficiently. The support for each main point is too short. I cannot think up strong evidence and examples to support them. Okay, those are good points. For the organization part, I used a lot of conjunction words like firstly, secondly. This helps me to clarify the organization of the whole speech. I remember that professor likes to use the phrase beyond that. This appears in almost every speech he gave. I think it's more natural than mine. It'll be better if I can organize the speech well without the help of firstly, secondly. The part I'm most dissatisfied is the internal structure of each point. I really don't know how to connect the examples back to the main points. So I want to ask you specifically on that part. Okay, so we can give her feedback on that. For the delivery, I hope my hand gestures didn't distract you. I have several peer review feedback that points to my hand gestures. The overall delivery is fine, apart from the fact that the sense of closure is not enough. Okay, so then she has some question which I will read later on. So at this point, Julie, I'm going to go to you. And did you get a chance to watch Penny's speech? Yeah, do you want to give her? So I read some of the comments that she made. What was your overall impression of Penny's speech as far as she's asking about her organization is concerned, her overall, let me just get your feedback on her overall speech. What was your feeling?
Okay, thanks, Jay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Show me thumbs up. Okay, great. Yes, first of all, I think Penny's speech was very well organized, and I agree with her overall assessment. You just want the general feedback now?
Yeah, general feedback, and then we can go into specific things on how she can improve on each of the points, because I don't want to give her just feedback without telling her how she can make it better.
Right. So I think there is some spontaneity that's good. And I actually like her use of first and second, because it helped me to locate where she is at until she becomes more better at contextualizing her conversation, her speeches. I find that her hand gestures were not distracting, but one of the things is hand gestures should help to emphasize certain points. And I find that it did not do that because it was constantly there. So I will suggest that look at her hand gestures. And finally, my major conclusion, the one advice I will give her was to talk about the closure and the conclusion. And so I agree with her that there's not enough there, and I will hold the details of that part to later. Okay.
Right. Okay. Those are excellent feedback. So let me give you my overall impression of her speech. I think she's Penny. Let me just tell you, you're very brave for sending us your video. A lot of students have this opportunity and they don't do it. So I want to congratulate you for recording this speech, because you're actually on your way to becoming an excellent speaker. And the only way you do that is by recording it. The first big move you have to make is hit that record button and then be willing to get the feedback. So let me just tell you that what you're doing is actually really going to help you, because until you do that, you're not ready to improve, okay? I think you're a very confident speaker. I did not see any nervousness when you're speaking, and that's an excellent sign. So you are able to communicate your point without getting nervous. A lot of people can't even do that, and it shows. I did not notice it, and when you see a speaker nervous, then the audience immediately stops paying attention, and they notice that her nervousness. You have a very easy style of communicating to people, which I really like, and your voice comes across very clearly to people. So some of the areas that I think that kind of now I can understand why it showed the way it is. One thing you did mention is that this was an impromptu, so you kind of didn't really prepare for it. I think you do need to prepare for it. Okay, so even though this is an impromptu, when somebody asks you an impromptu, you really should have prepared for it ahead of time. That's something that course doesn't tell you. Like if you're in a meeting, certain questions you have to anticipate are likely to come up. So it looks like you're not prepared, but in reality, you are prepared. Okay, so that's one thing. And you kind of made it clear that this was sort of your first take. If this was your first take, then it's a really good job, because first take for this speech, you did an excellent job if this was your first take. The one thing overall with the speech that I noticed, and I had to read it, view it a couple more times too, is the whole subject. You're calling the speech a peer review system. When I view it the second time and third time, I'm saying that really the speech is not really about the peer review system is part of it. But I think what you're really trying to say is the whole online community that facilitates learning. I think that is the main idea of this speech, not the peer review system. The peer review system is the first point, and then the second point is what you're saying here is how it encourages you to finish the course. So that's how I viewed it. I said, wait, when you said this is a peer review system, I thought that there would be 2 points on the peer review system that you did have the immediate feedback and the discussion forums. But then when you went to that second point, I'm not sure, and I'll have Julie comment on this. This is just my impression. I'm not sure that is part of peer review system. That's part of an online community that helps you learn and finish the course. Julie, do you have any comments on that? Is that how you interpret it, or are you okay with the main the thesis of it, that this is a peer review system?
Jay, actually, I agree with you, and Penny, I think your points are all really good, and actually Coursera itself is struggling with the idea of a community. And for example, your topics are fine, they integrate well. It's just a question of how do you title the speech. So for example, I could call it peer support and feedbacks in ways to improve online learning. Peer resource, another possible is peer presence in the forms of discussions, feedback, and forums and reviews to help me learn. Something like that may be more in alignment with the scope of your talk. But I just want to again emphasize the scope of your talk is quite integrated as a whole, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah. I just think that the reason, I think if she views our feedback and even views her speech maybe a couple more times, I think she would probably pick that up. The reason I'm pointing this out, Penny, is not as a way, because the main thesis is very important. If your main thesis is not going to be, it's not going to have a right supporting arguments, then people will not pay attention or feel like you're not convincing, or you may not know what you're talking about. So it is very important to stay focused on what is your main point and make sure that the supporting argument is actually supporting the main point, that they are not something completely different. And I think if you watch this, and you will definitely correct it. So this means that, let's say you are, like you said, that this was your first take. You don't want to say things even in a meeting if you do not know what you are saying. Just because somebody asked you, hey, Julie, can you give me an impromptu on something she doesn't know about? Then she should just say, I don't have a lot to, not that I don't have a lot to say, but you don't want to say things that's going to make you look like you don't know what you're talking about. So you want to be careful that impromptu is just a structure, but the knowledge part you already have. You just now extemporaneously putting that structure together quickly. That's why it's a 2-point speech. So overall, I think, Penny, this was a very good start. I think you are really have a lot of positives here. I think anything that needs to improve, I think, needs more practice. And I think with practice, you're going to get better. And you even indicated that this was your first take. But I think you just keep recording these videos and keep self-evaluating like the way you sent us your feedback. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to keep on improving. Julie, any closing thoughts?
No, I agree. And you are a natural speaker, Penny, and you're very well organized. So you have those 2 really good skills. You can think organized, and you can communicate that clearly. So you have the foundations of a great speaker tools. Thanks, Jay.
Okay, so at this point, we'll close out this segment and move to